Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing fine with your family at home. So, the big news is that, as you must be aware of, the lockdown is extended till May 3rd. So, the platform will continue. We will be sharing the knowledge through this particular platform, the Google Classroom. I will be sharing the video lectures, and I'm also planning to share some good content which is widely popular regarding the marketing strategies to the Google Classroom, and some videos, some e-materials, some cases, and we are also planning ki we can have a weekly quiz so that it will keep interest in the Google Classroom. So, so far, we have seen the product life cycle and its various stages. The product life cycle, as you know, that it is uh, a graphically representation of sales history of a product from the time it is introduced to the market until the point when it is withdrawn, and the various stages, the introduction, the growth, the maturity, and the decline phases we have explained in the previous video. And at the same time, the various feature of the product life cycle, like what are the feature at the introduction stage, maturity stage, growth stage, and the decline stage. That why the price is high at the introduction stage and why we follow the harvesting strategy at the decline stage. We have explained it with the example. And also we have seen the various strategies of the product life cycle, like what should be the strategy at the introduction stage in order to capture the whole market. In order to become the market leader, one has to do extensive promotion techniques, so that consumers are more aware of your product and the new upcoming technology or coming of it. And various strategies related to the growth, the maturity, and the decline we have seen so far. Today, we will be uh, having a discussion on why the product life cycle occur. So, just to before we start this particular concept that why product life cycle occur, let me give you a brief about what we have discussed is so far. Product life cycle strategy is the most critical in the first stage and the last stage of the product life cycle. We have seen that the company give more emphasis or more promotion at the first stage, and the last stage is also critical, that how the company is doing the harvesting strategy. A new product is necessary for the PLC to begin. The competitive distinctiveness or the technological superiority of a new product determined its success in the introductory stage. It is true, how you are beginning your journey is the most important part. So, as the life cycle of the product is also true, like how the consumers are making perception regarding your product at the introduction stage. It decides that how product will travel on the later stages. New products are the ultimate solution to maturity and the decline. I repeat, new products are the ultimate solution to maturity and decline problems when decision must be made on abandoning a declining product. However, the strategies of marketing mature product are not restricted to the elimination of such product. It is also true that the company has to decide that at what stage the product should be abundant. The company has to look into the thing like at what stage the product has become a matured product. So all these decisions has to make very carefully. One cannot simply determine the life cycle stage of a product. Every marketing situation is unique, and the marketing manager must be alert to many factors that influence the strategy at a given time. And the stage in the product life cycle is only not only one factor. So this was the things we have seen so far. Just a small thing like just to check whether you guys are watching the full videos or not. I'm just asking a simple question in the middle of the lecture, that who has propounded the product life cycle theory. So this is the question you have to answer in the comment box. I repeat the question, who has propounded the product life cycle theory? You have to answer in the comment section along with your uh, roll number so that the attendance can also be marked. Now moving ahead, one very important thing is uh, why the product life cycle occur. It is the big question to many of us. Uh, there is a theory, in fact two theories are there, which explain the reason behind the product life cycle. These theories are given by Everett Rogers, or it is popularly known as the Rogers theory. These two theories are the consumer adoption process and the consumer adoption theory. So what are these? We will begin with the consumer adoption process. Consumer adoption process, like we will be discussing the process by which the consumer become aware of and adopt new product, like how the consumers are becoming aware of the new product and how the consumer are adopting this particular new product. It is the process. An explanation of the product life cycle is found in the consumer adoption process, the process whereby the consumer become aware and eventually adopt a new product. As more and different people move through the adoption process, sales increase until the market is saturated. The process usually takes time. People become more aware of new product only after they have been on the market for some time, and they accept such innovation gradually. Rogers has identified the steps in the innovation process, which are: the first step is awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption. Awareness means individual become aware of the innovation but lacks information about it. Suppose a company has launched a new product, but you are aware that company XYZ has launched, but you are lack in information regarding how the product will work, what are the feature, how the product is different from the substitute product. So you are lack in information. Second stage is the interest. Interest is stimulated to search for the information about the innovation. Suppose you are aware, now you have eventually you become aware regarding what are the new feature coming up in the product. So what you do, you try to gather more and more information because of the arise of the interest within you. So this is the second process. Third one is the evaluation. Individual consider whether to try the innovation or not. After gathering all the information, the feasibility of that product come to place within the mind of the consumer, that whether this particular product is suitable for me or not, whether this product is under the budget, whether this product will have a positive influence on my consumption process or not. So you try to evaluate the various criteria. So this is the third stage. Next one is the trial. After you have fully evaluated the product feature and you, based on the suitability of the product feature, you have decided to make a small trial of your product, of that particular product. So individual tries the innovation on a small scale to test its usefulness. And the last one is individual decide. Last one is the adoption. Individual decides to make the use of the innovation on regular basis. Once you tried the product and you find it suitable or useful for you, then what you do? A rational consumer will try to adopt that particular product on his or her daily consumption. If it is not up to the mark, the consumer will search for the alternate product. So these are the theories of consumer adoption process. Now the second one is the consumer adoption process. So the first one was the consumer adoption process, and second one is the consumer adoption theory. It should be written adoption theory, uh, whereas I have written adoption process. It should be adoption theory. Now the adoption theory. Once the consumer has decided that yes, it means the consumers are aware of the new product coming into the market. The consumer will try to adopt the particular innovation. Now the rate of adoption of innovation, or the rate of adoption of the new product in our case, will be different for different type of the consumers. So this is basically the adoption theory. Adoption theory refers to the spread of a new idea from the introduction to the final general acceptance. Adoption theory provides further insight into the PLC by its extension into the diffusion process. Adoption theory is also known as the diffusion process. This refers to the spread of new idea from its introduction to its final general acceptance. Such a spread would follow a normal pattern communication, except some people are more prone than others to accept new product and ideas. Rogers classified the adopter of innovation using 5 criteria. These are, the first one are the innovators, second one are the early adopters, third one are the early majority adopters, fourth one are the late majority adopters, and the last one are the laggards. So who are the innovators? Innovators are the first people to accept a new innovation or accept a new product coming into the market. The proportion are relatively very less. Only, according to Rogers' theory, only 2.5% of all the adopter falls into this category. It means suppose a new product is launched into the market. So at the initial stage, only 2.5% of the total consumers will be purchasing those particular product, and they will be innovators because they have the unique characteristic that they always try to experience a new product or any kind of new technological things are coming into the market. The next stage of the consumers are early adopters. Early adopters constitute the 13.5% of the innovation acceptors. It means the second stage of the consumer are the early adopters. They closely look into the innovators and their reviews about about the product features, what are the pros of the product, what are the cons of the product, and based on that, the early adopter accept those kind of product. They constitute 13.5% of the innovation acceptors. Now the next section constitutes the early majority adopters. Now the second one was early adopter, and third one is the early majority adopter. It means majority of the consumer are now accepting the innovation, and it constitutes 34% of the total innovation acceptors. Next, the late majority adopters. These are the type of the adopters who closely look into the innovation pattern, closely look into the product features, and after they are satisfied that this particular product is good, the performance is superior than the competitor's product, then after they actually adopt these kind of the innovation. And the last one are the laggards. Laggard constitute only 16%. These people are often price conscious and wait until an innovation has passed well into the mature stage before adopting it. Suppose these are the consumers who are very consistent regarding the product feature, how the product will be, how the product performance will be. At the same time, they are also conscious regarding the price of the product. Take an example. Take an example of the iPhone. Suppose uh, recently, like till now, the Apple company has launched iPhone 11. So when the product was launched, only 2.5% of the total consumer will be accepting when the product was launched. And like the laggards are the consumers who will be purchasing the iPhone 7, for example, iPhone 7. Now the iPhone 7 is outdated, but because the price is low and at the same time the performance has been widely accepted. So these are the consumers who hold their consumption process just to make sure that the product price is low, getting low, and to make sure that performance is superior. So these are the types of the consumer uh, based on the adoption pattern. The consumers are divided. The innovators constitute 2.5%, early adopter 13.5%, early majority 34%, late majority 34%, and the last one 16%, the laggard 16%. Now this is a graph. uh, as you can see in the y-axis that 2.5% are the innovators, 16% are the majority, and so on, and the cumulative frequency is added. The till the laggard it is reaching 100%, 84%, and the laggard is 16%, that makes 100%. So the distribution of the adopter types provide the full insight into the PLC when it is retabulated into a cumulative basis. Retabulation suggests that by the time innovators have purchased the new product, only 2.5% of its eventual total market has been realized. As you can see in the graph, only 2.5% of the total market has been realized by the innovators. Adding the early adopter, the saturation rises to 16%. Not only the laggards have stepped into the market, 100% is achieved. The total sales is 100%. Now the implication part is also important. The implication of the adoption theory for product strategy is clear. The secret of getting a new product underway is to get innovation and try it, and then to quickly capture early adopter. Because these people tend to be highly influential opinion leaders, the importance of getting them to buy the product is apparent. Promoting to opinion leader and through them to the large market is described as a two-step communication process. Now the strategy is the company need to when they are launching a new product, they are required to capture the innovators because they are the first segment of the consumer who will be purchasing your product. At the same time, they are also a opinion leader. Like if innovator is purchasing your product and he or she is having a good opinion or good word of mouth regarding the feature of the product, so the rest part of the consumer, like 97.5% of the consumers will have a favorable attitude towards your product because innovators are only 22.5%. So the strategy on the part of the company is to influence the innovators, and the rest the things, if the start is good, the journey will be good and the ending will be good. So you need to influence the innovators. The next stage involves making the product readily available to the early and late majority. Laggards generally will come along by themselves. The diffusion process also helps explain the difficulties companies encounter in decline period of the PLC. What happens is that many original customers begin experimenting with the competitor's product. So these are some of the limitation company may arise in the adoption process. So these were the things we have discussed so far, and we have completed the product life cycle strategies, and I will be my plan is to give you some small assignment on the product life cycle strategies, maybe some question, maybe some quiz. I will be posting the assignment on the Google Classroom. So you go through the notes which I have also shared with you regarding the product lifecycle strategy. And if you have any query, you can contact me, post on the classroom, and you can be in touch with me on the phone call as well. So this was it regarding the product lifecycle strategy, and you can relate the strategy with any kind of product or any company. So that's it. Be happy, be safe. Thank you.